Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Well, first tonight, Tasmania's Police Association is warning the community is at risk with officers stretched to the limit by hotel quarantine duties. Concerns are growing. Police will be hit by fatigue as they work to maintain a ring of steel around the sites.
From meeting mercy flights to the doors of quarantine hotels, the thin blue line is growing thinner.
There's only 1,282 police officers, and when you take 5% and put them in hotels, there's got to be some give somewhere else in the organisation.
The police union claims officer numbers were doubled at quarantine sites last Friday, draining the ability to catch criminals and respond to emergencies.
There will be consequences out on the other functions that we do across the community that the public should be concerned about.
It's calling for other state government agencies to help shoulder the security burden. There's now confusion over what the police priorities are, and there are concerns the extra duties coincide with the busy summer season.
Well, we've taken advice on this, and I am given a complete assurance that Tasmania Police, together with the extra resources that we have provided, are able to meet the needs of our community. That's first and foremost what the government is seeking to achieve. Defence Force staff and private security are assisting police at the sites. Labor wants the Premier to pick up the phone to Canberra.
Come up with an agreement with the Commonwealth Government to deliver appropriate security to hotel security in quarantine areas.
Tasmania Police says it is taking rest and welfare into account of rostering officers. It concedes resources have been impacted, but business is continuing as usual. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
YMCA, the Macarena or the Nutbush? With the dancing ban over, the choice is yours tonight. Bars are filling up across Tasmania with vertical drinking finally allowed. Our reporter Meg Sydes was inside a venue when the clock struck 5. She joins us there live. She's been there a while now. Now, Meg, will you be showing off your dance moves tonight?
Well, Kim, I'm not sure I'll be among them, but after 8 months of those restrictions being in place, I'm sure there are a lot of people across Tasmania ready to dust off their dancing shoes tonight. Now, the clock struck 5 this afternoon. You can see it, people were a little bit tentative about vertical drinking, but they are very quickly warming to that idea. Now, nightclubs have, of course, waited the longest to reopen, while other hospitality venues have struggled with the restrictions. But after a long wait, I'm sure people will be celebrating right across the state tonight.
Meg, it sounds like it's going to start getting busy out there this festive season. Now, there's a new initiative to keep punters safe, isn't there?
That's right, Kim. The Safer Nights initiative was launched today. That's designed to keep both patrons and hospitality workers safe. That initiative will focus on Hobart's waterfront, with 10 different venues coming together to fund additional security. Salvation Army street teams and the St John's ambulance will be around, helping anyone who gets themselves into a little bit of trouble.
We have a non-judgment team that come around. We offer hydration, so safe sex packs, education around drugs and alcohol.
Coming into the silly season and coming up to the busiest nights of the year, I think that everyone has been very respectful of the rules so far and working with the venues, and most people have been following the directions of staff and been very well behaved, of course.
It is, of course, all about keeping people safe as we finally have something to celebrate at the end of this year. But for now, Kim, I might go and get ready to have a little bit of a boogie tonight.
11 people have been arrested after a major protest shut down Hobart CBD this afternoon. Extinction Rebellion protesters blocked traffic to hold a street party, calling for more action to combat climate change.
Music filling the streets of Hobart. Protesters dancing as they blocked this usually busy road.
Aware of the inconvenience, however, we think that, say, bushfires like last year are a whole lot more inconvenient, and they're going to start happening more frequently. So we're very sorry, but also it's going to be a whole lot more inconvenient in the future.
The colourful Extinction Rebellion protest sending a clear message.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Fossil fuels have got to go.
If we want a livable planet and not a hothouse planet, it is absolutely essential that the banks stop funding the use of fossil fuels.
And we don't want any more crazy hot summers. We want the climate crisis to be solved, and we want the banks and our government to actually take some action on this.
Police eventually attempting to move protesters along, some going willingly.
Move onto the footpath, please. Thank you.
Others reluctant.
Permit time's up. Are you happy to go?
Gluing themselves to each other and the road.
Either side of me on the chair, they're glued to the chair.
Vowing to stay.
As long as we need to take our stance and show that we are not going to stop until we get the support that we need.
Authorities carefully removing the protesters one by one. Some escorted, others carried. 11 people arrested by police. The outcome leaving some feeling dejected.
I'll be happy when it doesn't have to go anymore.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
The University of Tasmania has apologised to staff after an investigation into former Vice-Chancellor Peter Rathjen revealed 11 complaints. 3 cases relate to Professor Rathjen, while 8 are linked to workplace culture. UTAS won't reveal the nature of the claims against the professor.
But what we are going to do, by accepting all of the recommendations, is acknowledge that we didn't get things right.
This review demonstrates our systems and processes were not adequate to protect people during Peter Rathjen's tenure.
In August, South Australia's Corruption Commission found Professor Rathjen engaged in serious misconduct while at the University of Adelaide. Well, after 30 years of service to Australia's Antarctic mission, the Aurora Australis icebreaker will tomorrow set sail for its new home. The event provoking an outpouring of sadness, but also concern with the Antarctic Division in hot water over decision to use foreign seafarers on upcoming voyages.
It's been an iconic sight on the Derwent for 3 decades, but now staff are preparing to farewell the Aurora Australis. Tonight, workers will walk off the ship for a final time.
This evening at 5 o'clock, and I'm feeling a bit shaky about it.
An employee of 14 years, Sean has seen everything, from the icebreaker's 2016 grounding in Antarctica to dazzling views from the ship's deck.
To see that deep blue of a really old berg, it's absolutely breathtaking. It's beautiful. It makes you feel very minute.
Affectionately known as the Orange Ruffy, the vessel will depart for Dubai tomorrow. Its replacement, the Noyina, will arrive in March. Until then, the MPV Everest will be used for 2 voyages south, with foreign seafarers on board. But that's not a popular plan.
There has been no Australians engaged on the Everest. We believe there should be Australian seafarers on board, as they have for the past 30 years.
In a statement, the Antarctic Division says Australians were offered the opportunity to work on the ship, reaffirming all Everest staff have the required qualifications and have undertaken COVID isolation requirements.
Hundreds and hundreds of Australian seafarers ready to work and take on this work.
But in the meantime, the iconic ship tonight is being remembered for its biggest contribution.
We've helped to further science in this country, and that to me is a really important thing.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Rare footage of the Tasmanian tiger has been discovered, the only known film of a thylacine as a cub. The film's survival is even more astounding after being lost in an archive for decades.
Slim, nimble and energised, this is the greatest visual insight we have of a thylacine as a cub.
It is without doubt the most precious glimpse we've ever had of the thylacine.
John Doyle's father filmed the months-old thylacine at Beaumaris Zoo in 1930. Incredibly, the footage had been missing for nearly 4 decades after John handed it to the National Film and Sound Archive in 1982.
So I put it in there in 1982, forgotten about it, and actually they tried to contact me when they looked at some of Dad's film, and we'd moved house. So I didn't get any of that, of course. And when I did remember it in, I think, 2009, and they unfortunately weren't able to find my film.
John's father wouldn't have known at the time the thylacine he filmed would go on to be the last of its kind to survive. That vision, a heartbreaking reminder it spent nearly its entire life in captivity.
This is the most important historical film that's ever been found. We didn't know at the time just how significant it was. We knew that this was a juvenile individual. You can see the tail crest, which is a characteristic of a juvenile.
John still has the hand-cranked camera his father used. He had no idea just how valuable the footage would be.
No matter how short it is, no matter how shaky the vision is, we'd love to see it.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, meanwhile, there's renewed hope for the future of the Tasmanian devil population, with research showing the spread of the facial tumour disease is slowing. UTAS scientists have revealed while the disease itself is still fatal, it has now reached a steady state. After 20 years of study, experts say they're cautiously optimistic about the continued survival of the iconic marsupials. Water users are proposing a solution to the Tamar river woes, pointing the finger at the Riverside tail race design. The Tamar Yacht Club is pushing for the Trevellyn Power Station to reroute its water down to Kings Bridge at a cost of around $30 million, saying it would help refresh the headwaters area.
It's a start, it's not the silver bullet, it's not going to fix all the mud flats, we're not that naive. But it's going to return the river. We just want blue water, we want sailing back at this end of the river.
Hydro Tasmania says its expert analysis has shown the plan would not be effective in long-term removal of natural sediment. The trio of Launceston engineers has powered up the hair clippers and lost their locks for a good cause. The workers from Shaw Contracting had their colourful haircuts trimmed for the world's greatest shave, which supports the Leukaemia Foundation. The group raised close to $10,000.
No, it's very important for all Australians to donate to charities like that. It's very good. Any little bit we can do will be great.
One man said his wife is still coming to terms with his new do and much preferred his mullet. Employing people with a disability has been the key to success for one Tasmanian business. A new social enterprise toolkit is aiming to foster more businesses like it, looking to do good in the community.
Employing a majority of people with a disability, Self-Help Workplace is an example of a successful business with a community focus.
So we provide tailored work for them, so work which is designed specifically for their capacities and capabilities. And we've built the business around them. And I think that's why we've thrived and survived since 1962.
They're passionate about it being more than just profit-driven.
We're focused on social good, so it's really about being a good corporate citizen and meeting specific needs in the community. So our need is to meet the employment needs of people with disability.
A new initiative is looking to encourage this type of work.
It's a resource for any community group, any local collective to go, we want to start something, we want to make long-term change, we want to make this last and put a business model around it, provide some jobs, but focus on the impact and the change that we can make in our region.
There's now the Social Enterprise Toolkit, an online learning course for those with an idea and wondering how to take it further.
They can go through, how do we build our idea? What's the finances, the marketing, some of those scary things around business, looking at how to test it, how to do research, but actually take their idea that they're proud about and using their community passion to make that happen.
It's launched today at Rochalee Men's Shed, a prominent social enterprise and inspiration to others with a dream.
But I think what we'll see is more people want to get involved, more people to understand that they can use some skills and say, hey, I could do something out of this.
With the tools to do that, they're now better prepared for success. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The bills have kept rolling in for hospitality businesses this year, even with the lack of customers. But the state government's energy rebate program will now allow eligible businesses to claim between $1,000 and $10,000 for their running costs.
They're always there. You know, they didn't stop when we could only seat 10 people. So it's going to be a welcome relief.
It's another boost for the battling industry, with restrictions also eased this evening.
The Hobart Hurricanes have made a phenomenal start to their BBL campaign, upsetting the reigning champions, the Sydney Sixers. Recruits Tim David and Colin Ingram starred in their new colours as the bowling cartel fuelled a stunning come-from-behind victory.
A BBL season like no other started like no other.
Players taking a knee in support of teammates and those who have been impacted by racism, umpires.
But 2 wickets in the first 7 balls had the Hurricanes on its knees.
Straight into first slip's hands.
Handed the captaincy on his purple debut, Peter Hanscom showed no signs of nerves, forging a 55-run partnership with South African import Colin Ingram.
Oh, cover drive again. He's absolutely smoked that.
On his usual home ground, but in enemy colours, Jordan Silk proved his athleticism.
Oh, what? Jordan Silk.
As the unheralded Tim David unleashed his power.
Crunched.
Catapulting his score past 50 and the team's past 170. The Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra set the tone for the second innings and the Hurricanes started on a good note.
Now then, there's one Paul Wilson likes.
However, the celebrations were short-lived as the Sixers plundered the attack around Blunston Arena.
Drags that down and put away.
All smiles in the opposition dugout as the match slowly slipped from the Hurricanes' grasp. 1 wicket gave them a sniff. When it was lights out for Edwards, the pendulum swung back in favour of the home side.
It's just done him for pace. The zing bales are flying.
With the required run rate soaring, the ask became too much for last year's champion. A major upset for a new-look Hurricane side.
To come back from that, finish it the way we did was just beautiful. Couldn't fault them.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmanian News.
Tasmania has locked in 2 games for next year's AFLW season. The Kangaroos will play Richmond at North Hobart Oval on Saturday the 27th of February. The Roos will then take on Melbourne at UTAS Stadium on Sunday the 14th of March. As you heard, Carlton and Collingwood will open the season and a single ladder will be used for the 9-round competition instead of having 2 conferences like in previous years. And after his induction into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame, tonight's flashback is looking at David Foster's 1000th wood chopping title. It took just 8 years for Foster to go from his 100th title to his 1000th. When David Foster won title number 100 in 1990, the then 33-year-old set a goal which would date very quickly.
I reckon you don't reach your peak until you're 40 or 45. I think maybe 200 could be around the corner.
Tried title number 1000 by the time he'd reached that age. In 32 timber-smashing seconds, Foster would not only achieve the incredible feat, he'd crack the world record time too. The road to such success was sprinkled with family feats. David and his dad George would win 11 straight world titles, including this one in 1989, just 5 months after George had had a double heart bypass. Son Stephen and daughter Janelle would also be involved. A sense of humour would be as much a trademark as the chopping.
Who chops the firewood in your household? I've got a 14-year-old son that actually does that, but we've got an oil heater at home, bugger cutting wood for the fire. No, we haven't. We've got a wood heater.
His huge personality matched by his pride for Tasmania.
By the way, I read somewhere that I don't think you've ever heard a Tasmanian joke. Now, I've got one. But hang on, I'm sure you won't use it, mate, today. That's why there's no...
That amazing 1000th title would be immortalised in a limited edition collector's series. Fittingly, only 1000 were produced. For the final word, we'll leave that to this Today Tonight report following the title win.
And as we say in the movie business, cut.
An oil heater, Kim, that's a ripper, isn't it?
That was a great joke. He's a funny man and a great Tasmanian.
Good evening. 22 in Launceston today, Hobart 19, Devonport a high of 18 and 17 in Burnie. 23 was the state's top today in Cressy, 18 across Flinders Island and Strawn, Grove 19 and 15 at Lyowini. On the close-up shows low-level cloud clearing most areas during the afternoon. Further out, bands of middle and high-level cloud can be seen associated with a trough over Queensland. Tomorrow shows the high moving to the east of Tasmania, extending a ridge up the eastern half of the mainland. Southeast to southwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots in the south tomorrow, and east to northeasterly 15 to 25 knots across the north. A strong wind warning is current for the far northwest coast from Sandy Cape to Stanley. Tomorrow's forecast now: 23 across Hobart and Oatlands, Medina, sunny. In the north, sunny across Launceston and Devonport, 20 in Lyowini. Burnie tomorrow, 18, 23 in Strawn, Marrawar, sunny. St Helens 19 and mostly sunny across Swansea and Orford. The UV forecast is very high across the state with the sun setting at 8:40 p.m. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast: Sunday, fine apart from possible light showers in the northeast. Monday, possible light showers about the north. And Tuesday, showers developing about the west and south. Capital cities, 31 and sunny in Perth tomorrow, cloudy in Sydney and Brisbane, expecting showers. And currently Hobart, sunny and 17, Launceston partly cloudy and 18, Devonport mostly sunny and 16. That's all for weather tonight, Kim.
Thank you, Jackie. Have a great weekend. And that's your news for this Friday. Thanks for joining us tonight. Louise will be in the chair over the weekend. You can now enjoy the cricket. Good night.